In the first part, the previous video, I posted a vision, the Enlightenment phase, a way to give new life to museums from dusty and silent rooms into active and social hubs. And now the work begins with another contradiction. As part of my master's, I'm currently navigating a social media marketing course. For most, it's nothing special, but for me, it's quite a battle. I don't, and I will never use apps by Meta like Instagram or Facebook. And of course, it's same for TikTok. I don't think it's necessary to explain the reasons behind it, they are quite obvious. Yet to make a change and to give a voice to the voiceless, I have to understand all of the tools, and I have to find a way to bridge the gap between the silence, which I consider sacred, and the digital noise. I was actually very indecisive about how to start this chapter. I could have reached back into my bachelor's studies degree, all global, high-tech, and gamified projects, mostly inspired by Team Labs, which were quite academically successful, but didn't explain why I cry in museums. So instead, I'm showing you an exercise in progress, something I'm currently building and something I haven't received any feedback yet. It's a project that actually feels more vulnerable, with the pain of a world crashing around us and destroying everyone who's trying to stop it. It's about a museum I actually cried in, where I wondered, how do I tell about it to everyone? How do I make them feel this vision, this beauty, this hope, which doesn't resound in a name or in a simple marketing campaign? I'm almost ready to bet you've never heard this artist's name. Hendrik Andersen. He has been gone for over 80 years. His beautiful statues are now in Rome, largely forgotten. But Andersen didn't just make statues. He had a megalithic vision for global peace, sustainability, and human happiness. And now, when we are living in a time that feels like a total despair, but data finally showed us a global increase in search for meaning and sustainability in the modern society, are we finally ready to see what he saw? So in this episode, I'm using the cold social media marketing as an attempt to build a bridge into a dream. So resuming all we have got. Exercise in social media marketing. 25 pages, an existing enterprise or brand with its existing aesthetics to be respected. An analysis of the current media strategy and the proposition for a new one, with clear goals, target audience and personas, a matching tone of voice, and a working funnel. To summarize in an editorial plan and a couple of visuals to make it clear. Going in order, I had to make a choice. I'm being forced to use the tools of Meta to pass this course. Platforms I hate for their destructive damage to our attention, to our soul, to our world. I could talk about it for hours, but it's not the time. But from the first session of this course, I already stated, if I'm going to use Meta, I'm going to use it to destroy the damage and the pain it causes. I want to destroy it from the inside. I'm not feeding the scroll algorithm, and if I'm here to work with it, I want to subvert it. This, of course, had an impact on the objectives and the tone of voice I adopted in this campaign. Not only these, though. Since the existing audience of the museum was a very small cycle of older people, to increase the number of visitors, it would be more logical to speak to more generations. A wider audience, which, as already stated, is already primed in some way. Why primed? Because talks on sustainability, growth, change, innovation, and better future are everywhere now. This is the main generational need at the moment. Yet storytelling on media is still prevalently negative. This is why finally stories about hope, resilience, and achievement are becoming more interesting for the viewers. And Andersen's works are just about it. He was a co-author of a book for the World Center. He painted hope and joy and dream. He sculpted all the possible emotions, but also he created a series of sculptures and then an architectural plan for the World Center, his dream. A dream that at the time of futurism, the time in which he lived, was almost unacceptable. There was no space for joy and peace in futurism, which worshipped war and movement. Now that we have too much of it, Andersen's dream can be shared. And if to create something, we have to imagine it first. What's a better way than to go through all of the 4 forms of creative expression proposed by Andersen? And if a goal is not a goal if you don't set for it a precise time frame, let's divide all of these 4 forms of art in 4 times of the year. Write the dream, paint it, sculpt it, and finally architect it. For autumn to summer, entering the 4 art forms in 4 different periods. I talked about it in another video, but I think it's quite a popular concept nowadays. Your ideas have to go through your hands. It's not enough just thinking about it. But put your hand on a piece of paper for the first time, and it has to be a piece of paper, not your phone, and you will feel a creative flow coming to you. This is why one of the main hooks was the printed poster, where you have to share your ideas on how you see a utopic world. Or what is a utopic world for you? Which would become something shareable via meta apps, which I hate so much. Here, not only the idea you write matters, how the others will perceive it and react to it matters much more. This is once again our main feature of desire for connection. Which brings me to an additional part of the campaign. A reimagined ticket, slightly different for everyone. It presents a very important quote, and by making a picture of it and sharing it, you can find 3 of your fellow visitors and dreamers: a writer, a painter, a sculptor, and an architecture. If you'd like it, the Fantastic 4. It's a way to say I've been to the museum, it's a way to say I have a dream, and it's a way to say I'm doing something to make this dream real. It's not the hype content, it's something authentic and real. The funnel in this case doesn't take your soul. Here, the funnel is not a journey to purchase, it's a journey to self-growth. First, a journey into a museum, then a journey into a better future, into a world of connections and dreamers. And talking about entering, I maybe should talk about stylistic choices, because I know people are always interested in this part, which might not be the best. I'm not completely satisfied. I'm completely unsatisfied, actually. But here too, there were quite some problems. Part of the brief was to follow the existing aesthetic of a brand, but of course, being a public museum, they don't really have a brand identity. Even the pictures online are very limited. When I visited the museum, I didn't have the opportunity to take a lot of pictures because I was absorbing the information around me. But some things I could recover from my mind. Some organic features, such as the marble texture, high ceilings and cold light, plenty of air, and huge windows and doors. All of them arches. And inside all of it, I could feel the presence of the artist. This is how, after countless struggles, I finally decided this one would be the final one. Even though I might not like it so much. This is a very small parenthesis on marketing, on strategy, and a little bit on art direction. Your idea doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I've heard it from a lot of professionals, for several reasons, but the most inspiring one is that ideas are born to mutate and transform, as everything. An idea can't be perfect, it's meant to evolve. It's still more of a sketch than a blueprint. Yet, it proves, at least in my humble opinion, that even with the rigid and often soul-crushing structure of marketing, we can maintain integrity and humanity. And the same platforms I distrust and criticize can become the bridge to a dream. Data and algorithms can be good. This is only the second step in our journey to the enlightenment cafes, but I will probably continue to state it every episode. There is no evil tool. The evil stays in the hands of who beholds the tool. Even if I personally don't have faith in social media, it doesn't mean that they are doomed. Of course not. They are already too deeply integrated in our lives. But it doesn't mean they can't change. It doesn't mean we can't change. The important thing here is to make it an evolution, not a deterioration. So for the next time, we will take a closer look on technologies that might be still new for many and might even scare you sometimes. I really hope it could be interesting, but most of all, I hope it could be inspiring. As always, I'm kind of fighting a battle with YouTube algorithms and your attention spans. And I perfectly understand I didn't go through a lot of steps in the elaboration of the campaign. So if you want more information on very technical aspects, you gotta let me know. If you're still here, thank you very, very much. And in case it's because your device is broken or something happened, yeah, don't worry, I'm going to shut up right now.